Welcome to the Positively No Gambling Podcast, a pro football show that is definitely not about betting. My name's Glenn Fraser. It is Thursday, October 8th, and these are the Week 6 NFL picks against the spread. Okay, to recap, last week 9-5 overall, 4-1 in the best bet, so definitely bounced back from a rough week 4. Overall, 44 and 33 and 15 and 10 in best bets. So still very much profitable, doing well. Let's kick things off. Going with a lot of road teams this week. Let's hope that the bets pay off. All right, Thursday night football, Philly at Giants. I'm going to take Philly minus 6.5. I love that 6.5 number for the road teams. Not going to make it a best bet just because Philly not does not have the best record in division, and there's just something a little bit off about this team right now. Short week, take Philly, but not in a best bet. London game, third week in a row of the Europe games. I'm going to go Denver minus 7.5. As the designated road team, neither one of these stats really mean much given that this is in London. The 7.5 is not a great number historically, kind of 50-50. I'm just going with the hunch here. It's a big number to cover, but the Jets are in dire straits right now. This appears to be a coaching mismatch and a defensive mismatch. I would expect Denver's defense to really outperform the Jets offense, and I think they're going to cover that number. Bo Nick should have a good game. Weird one here. I'm going to go Arizona plus 6.5. The Cardinals as a road dog historically have been a great bet. 68% against the spread over a good sample size. And even better, 70%, 23 and 10, and covering the spread as a road team out of the division, the Cardinals are. What does that mean? That means they get disrespected in the lines. The lines are higher than they should be. That 6.5 number is a number that I like. Taking the road team, 58% against the spread over a large sample size. Indy 4-1 against the spread in 2025. They are one of the hottest teams, one of the surprise teams. This is a classic buy low, sell high. I'm buying low on the Cardinals and selling a bit high on the Colts. So I'll make this a best bet. Arizona plus 6.5. Chargers at Miami. Miami getting 4.5 at home. I like that. Not enough to make it a best bet because it is the Dolphins at the end of the day, but seems like a point or two too high. Dolphins, not a huge sample size, but as a home dog, they tend to cover, and they tend to cover overall out of the division. Still early October, weather could become a factor, especially in the second half. Chargers traveling, playing in the early window. We all know that. I'm going to go with a mild Miami backing. Pittsburgh hosting Cleveland. I'm going to go with Pitt minus 5.5. The Browns on the road as a road dog and in the division are abominable. They are terrible. The Steelers, on the other hand, not the best as a home favorite, but in division, they tend to cover in Pitt. Hesitant because of the 5.5. That's a big number. Usually like the dog in that situation, but I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. Something to watch out for, the Browns pass rush, which is the best front four in football, might be one of the best front fours in 20 years in football. Against this Steelers O-line, that could disrupt, that could change the pace of this game, that could change everything in this game. But I don't trust Gabriel on the road just yet, so I'm going to take Pitt minus the 5.5. Dallas at Carolina. Dallas as a road favorite and out of the division, some real positive trends. Road teams, though, covering 2.5, it's about a 50-50 proposition, so I'll hesitantly take Dallas laying the 2.5. Seattle, Jacksonville. This is a great game. This is a tough game to handicap. I'm going to go Jacksonville -1.5. Seahawks as a road dog and out of the division, very positive trends, but that home team covers that -1.5 over a really big sample size, 2/3 of the time, which is remarkable. As long as that trend keeps up, we'll bang that every time. Interesting against the spread numbers. Jacksonville 4-1 overall this year and 3-0 against the spread at home. Seattle 3-2, but 2-0 on the road at covering spread. So something's got to give in this one. Should be one of the games of the week. Hesitant to take Jacks, but I will take them. I am a believer. Rams laying 7.5 at Baltimore. Rams do very well as a road favorite. Ravens, very small sample size. They're never a home dog. They were last week, and they obviously didn't cover it, but tend to cover as a home dog. The 7.5 is a tough number. Obviously, this changes if Lamar Jackson ends up being the starter, but I'm going with the lines as of Wednesday afternoon, which is Rams laying 7.5. All right, finally made it to the second of the Fraser five best bets. Love this one. New England laying 3.5 in New Orleans. Pats, not the largest sample size because they really have not been a road favorite post Brady, but when they are, they tend to cover. Saints, just the opposite. They are terrible as a home dog against the spread. Really bad in the Superdome out of the division. Now, some of this can be historic, where the Saints were uh, giving teams a few more points than they deserved to get. But I like the Pats in this one just from a pure handicap standpoint. Drake May, I think you're still getting value on him, even though he seems to be a dude. He seems to be a legit quarterback. And the Saints, look, they're feisty, they're hanging in games, but bottom line is they're just the talent gap is very wide here. And I will take the Patriots in the second of the five. This is the biggest stay away, worst game of the week, one of the worst games of the year. Titans at Vegas. Went back and forth on this one. Tennessee is almost impossibly bad against the spread. 20, 11 and 28 in the 2 years and a quarter since 2023 overall against the spread. That is like insane, insane. Tipping point was the 4.5. Vegas should not be 4.5 point favorite against anybody in this league. Maybe the victory in Arizona made something click in Tennessee. I'll take the points and take them. Not spending a lot of time on that one. All right, third of the five best bets, San Francisco at Tampa. I like San Francisco +2.5. Niners are not often road dogs, but when they are, they tend to cover. Bucks not as great at home as you would think. I think that the lines are a little bit overvalued, and the 2.5 is just a number that I always love and almost always take for the road team. Interesting against the spread stats so far in 25. San Fran 3-0 against the spread on the road, Tampa 0-2 at home. So definitely risky to take San Francisco here, but I'm going to gamble and go with them. I think they could win this one outright. I obviously the starter is going to be a big factor, so definitely a gamble to keep this one in the best five, but I'm going to go with them. All right, Cincinnati at Green Bay. I don't know what to do with this one. Packers cover almost every time. Well, not every time, but Packers cover 61% as a home favorite and almost 2/3 of the time as a overall in Lambeau out of the division. Not a ton. 14.5 is just such a big number. Cincinnati 0-3 against the spread on the road in 2025, and none of them really have been close. Packers 2-0 at home against the spread in 2025. It feels like it's been a month since they've been home on that Thursday against Washington. So that place should be buzzing. Uh, Cincinnati is going to have Flacco starting, so no idea with this one. I'm just going to take the points and not put it in any sort of best bets. The fourth of the five top bets is going to be Detroit getting 2.5 at Kansas City Sunday Night Football as a road dog. Lions cover as a road team out of the NFC North. They cover almost 60% of the time. Very similar to San Francisco. That 2.5 is an attractive number. It tends to perform well, and I am a believer in this Lions team. I think they are the number one team on the power rankings, and Kansas City definitely scared of them at home, but I'm going to take Detroit getting points. All right. First of the two Monday night games and the fifth of the best bets. Buffalo laying 3.5 at Atlanta. The Bills as a road favorite and out of the AFC East on the road tend to be a profitable bet. Falcons at home as a dog or outside of the division, just the opposite. The 3.5 is definitely a tough 50-50 proposition, but I'm a believer that this is a little bit lower than it should be. Bills only 1-4 against the spread this year. They've been barely beating teams. They've been underperforming. They've been playing with their food. Whatever you want to say, it has all been true. I'm going to bet that this is the week that, as a road dog, they come through and really make a statement by beating Atlanta and covering the number. And then last but not least, this is a really tough one. This should be a good game. I think Washington's more talented, but at 4.5, I will take Chicago as the underdog here. Nothing really jumps out other than the plus 4.5 being a pretty good number historically. Bears 0-2 against the spread on the road in 2025, and Washington 2-0 at home. It's a typo, at home. So another one of these, something's got to give here. I don't have much confidence in this one. That's why I won't take it as a best bet. All right. So to recap, the five all road teams, which is always a little bit scary, but why not? It kind of worked last week. So let's go and run it back this week. Arizona getting 6.5 at Indy, New England laying 3.5 at New Orleans, San Francisco getting 2.5 at Tampa, Detroit getting 2.5 at Kansas City, and Buffalo laying 3.5 at Atlanta. That is week 6. Let's hope to keep up the profitability.